All right, guys, so we are on day 20 of the manhunt for Joshua Zimmerman. He escaped on June 14th from the DeSoto County Courthouse in Mississippi. I wouldn't call it an escape. I would say more so the guy walked out. He was escorted out, that's obvious. And the conflicting statements from prosecutors are just amazing. Yesterday we learned more. We learned about these little statements that apparently were published but somehow hard to find, which is weird when you have evidence missing from a courthouse. That's a pretty big story. The DA had said that his office got a phone call from an outside entity, not Mississippi. They were ordered to order the county courthouse IT department to go and essentially, well, they did. They went and erased the surveillance. That's what they were told to do. That's what they did. Now, he also mentioned that he knows who did it, and he ran into the individual in the hallway. I'm not sure if that was a separate press conference and if it relates to the same thing, because my understanding is that the cloud was a separate little operation. They have more than just a cloud server. That's my understanding. My understanding is that there was also reportedly a physical DVR in the building that was damaged or content was missing from. And now the only update that we have about Zimmerman is that the reward went up, which isn't an update today. That was yesterday. Again, guys, it's $25,000, not 20. Take the 20 from the government, and then Dog has upped it with another 5, and it's going to grow by Friday. Yeah, honestly, it should. It might grow by Friday, and if not, by the weekend's end, it is definitely going to jump up again. Usually they do it in 5,000 increments. If we see a $10,000 jump, that means they're getting a lot of tips. Right now, tips are coming in. They are vetting them, but just keep them coming. Keep your eyes out in DeSoto County. That's where he likely is. He didn't get far. If he got far, they wouldn't be upping the reward locally. Why would DeSoto up the reward? So by now, the escapee is not going to be in Memphis. He is still most likely in DeSoto County, very close to where he escaped from. And I mean, you can probably smell the guy if he wasn't being taken care of. He's not a Danilo. Danilo was taken care of per se. They were much more, it was a whole different, you can't compare it. This guy is literally able to stay in a hotel, in a motel. He has the ability to stay places because he has solid identities, and possibly his connections have credit cards to go with those identities. But also keep in mind, I guess we did learn one new thing today, and that is that the victims are the survivors, not the victims, because this guy has a laundry web of victims, and I don't think it's fair to call the people that survived a victim. They're more so a survivor of this. They are the definition of survivors. Instead of other things where there are 70-year-old cases that come forward with nothing to go off of. The group of women and maybe men that survived Zimmerman, they are survivors. If you give the guy a ride somewhere, like if that witness is a true witness, the one that possibly gave him a ride to Memphis, that person is a survivor. Okay, because they made it. They should get a t-shirt saying they survived Zimmerman of 24, because it's kind of bizarre. The next person isn't going to have that kind of luck, especially if he does not have a solid connection with a woman, which is another interesting factor. If the person that gave him a ride to Memphis is not part of his network, and that's possible, very possible that they're not part of the network, that means he either has, well, he does have a network, which they got him out, but it just means that they weren't exactly there, and that wouldn't make sense, which is why we haven't heard much about that situation, about where the car was found, other than they went to Memphis. Not they, the person called it in and said, I think I gave the escaped prisoner a drive over to Memphis. I recognize him. Problem is there's nothing showing him getting out in Memphis. He is seen on various photos at DeSoto County, coming out of the courthouse, one inside the building. He is dressed as a civilian. You would think he's an attorney almost. In some areas, lawyers could, honestly, he could pass in as an attorney. The way he was on a mission walking, but he didn't look like he was escaping. He had his little binder, and then he's walking and reading what looks to be plans. Who the heck reads their case file walking down the street? You know what I mean? He knows what he did. He knows what he's accused of. The only thing he's reading is probably a map. But back to the victims or survivors. The victims / survivors who are going toward Mississippi and that region. They're traveling with a woman who I hear this Zimmerman guy is petrified of. This woman, I spoke with her. She's wild. She's from Connecticut. She wasn't a victim or a survivor. She's a bounty hunter who caught this guy before. He knows her. He's scared of her. And she is not really fearful of him. She kind of is hoping. She wants to catch him. And when he finds out, which I'm sure he watches if he's not watching already, I'm almost positive that he has an insider watching if he's not watching. When he starts getting wind that this lady's in town, it's going to be really funny if she catches him before the authorities, because this lady, let me tell you, she's going to make sure he gets to Texas. Pretty sure she will. And I think that's another reason why he's petrified. And also, she's wild. I mean, wild. She will take you down. I never met her, but from her voice and how she was very calm and collective in a conversation at like 3 a.m. while we're discussing a serial killer, and she explained to me how she got him last time, and she gave him a kicking. Like, it was wild. He has a reason to be scared. I mean, I wouldn't mess with this. She doesn't sound like a PI. She sounds more like a wild kind of person. Like, you call her when you've tried to go through domestic courts and stuff, and say the guy is running and he's not paying child support, but he's also beating you. Call her to catch him, because I'll tell you, after it's all over, I'll share her name and stuff, because she should get some business. She can take care of these people. She should open up something that just chases around monsters like Zimmerman and take them to Texas. They should all go to Texas, and that would be amazing, because not in a bad way, Texas, but you guys have amazing laws when it comes to criminal justice and taking down the real bad guys. So we can send you guys Zimmerman. All we have to do is spread awareness, spread the poster. Mississippi, let's get Zimmerman and let's take him to Texas. Tell DeSoto County, please give him to Texas. Wants him. Texas should get him. And then after it's all over, Texas can send him back to serve his time in Mississippi in a coffin. And if we're lucky, the coffin won't go missing like the evidence did. You know, you guys can get him back when he's dead. If you catch him, send him to Texas where he belongs. They have an amazing criminal justice system there. I think they have the death penalty. That's what he needs. But we need to raise as much awareness as possible. It's only growing. And the reason we're seeing these like speed bumps and little roadblocks sort of is, I wouldn't call them roadblocks, more so speed bumps, is the facts of this case are so ridiculous. If you are, imagine being a journalist or a reporter and literally you hear this, right? On day 17, that somebody wanted for murder in the first degree in Houston and various other states for rape, he got caught in Mississippi after fleeing Texas. He took the Greyhound bus to get to Mississippi and various other little things. He makes a little network, he gets caught. He's being held in the Mississippi area from October, either very early October or the last couple days of September of 23 up until June 14th, where he's taken right next door to the courthouse. So he had many months to network. He's very good at manipulating, and he was able to, obviously we're looking for him and we're on day 20, so it worked. When you have somebody, so he gets there, he makes his little friends. I don't know if he had a cellmate. By law, I don't think he was allowed to have one, so if he did have one, I wouldn't say much. DeSoto, you guys are already in enough of a situation as it is, but Zimmerman had raped his previous cellmates in Connecticut. Okay, so you're not supposed to have a cellmate again if you rape a cellmate. That's like it's not a law, no, it is a law. It's not like a rule, it's a law. There is a Prison Rape Elimination Act. It's a federal, it's a problem. That prisoners may not have all the rights, but they have the right to be Zimmerman free. I'll tell you that. That's why he really doesn't deserve. It would be a disservice to taxpayers to have to pay to have Zimmerman in DeSoto County. It would be cheaper to send him to Texas. But then again, it would just let Texas take him. We love Texas if you take him. You guys will get so many kudos, a lot of brownie points. That would be amazing, because I don't think Mississippi's going to give the guy the chair, maybe an electric wheelchair so he can roll his way out of the next hearing. He's not getting any other kind of chair. He made his way out. The only chair he's on right now is, if he's on a chair, it's a recliner, and if it's moving, he's going 80 miles an hour. He's not your average escapee. He is Ted Bundy. I can't say it enough. There are probably, 5 or 6 victims that died 5 or 6 victims that he sexually assaulted, kidnapped, or killed that we know of. And that's because of his name being put on it. This dude right now has nothing to lose if he doesn't have somebody right now helping him, which is hard to believe. But say somebody was going to help him and go pick him up, and they made a U-turn after they saw this thing kind of picking up. He's going to take a hostage. But again, he hasn't been seen in 20 days. So it's very, I mean, he escaped from, like, it's, you guys understand where I'm coming from. He is not in Pocopson, in the woods. He's not on a 1,000-acre farm or whatever the heck, Longwood Garding. He's not over there. This is like a pretty easy to spot situation, unless you don't tell people the guy escaped. For what? How long did it take for them to find out? They put the place on lockdown. Meanwhile, people are coming in as somebody's going out. Prisoner gets away 1 minute before the city lockdown, claiming that's the minute he made it to Memphis. He had a lot of luck so far, and I think his luck ran out before he made it to Memphis. He didn't get to Memphis. I'm not going to say he didn't get there, but if he did, we're dealing with way worse than Spider-Man. You guys are talking about like Houdini meets Chris Angel, and that's actually something funny. I spoke with Dog last night about the case, and he is all over this. Like, as far as he's back. He does it because he loves it. Catching fugitives doesn't mean you have to be out on the run, and trust me, he can catch. He's strong, and he is very, for his age, he can take down people easily. He'll knock me the hell out, but I'm not on the run. Back to Zimmerman. Dog getting involved is amazing, because what we need to do is keep pushing manhunts and fugitives. At the end of the day, you guys saw firsthand what the media does, and I'm not bashing them for it, because they can't make an entire newscast about one person, but they could use their social media. It's not the reporters' faults. They wish they could. During Danilo, a lot of reporters were having a blast getting to run around out in the field, chase people around, and get like real leads in a field. You don't do that a lot. No matter what newsroom you're in, it's rather boring. I used to work at AMI, but that was a little bit different because they own the National Enquirer. So I was going through cornfields, chasing people on like a snowmobile. It was wild. That place was a wild workplace, but that's not your newsroom everywhere else, your respectable newsrooms. Okay, that AMI was a wild, I don't know how it had any news protections. I mean, the stories were legitimate, but it was a wild time. That is I have to like do a podcast about that on its own, because that place, I can go on for years. But there is simply no excuse for the network heads, the people in charge of these little small town networks. I mean, give me a break. Every state surrounding that region should have had some coverage. Connecticut should have had coverage. You guys let the rapist out. You dropped the charges on him once, and then you got him another time, and you gave him an ankle bracelet. How stupid. I mean, honestly. And you give a dude who obviously has money, because he's sitting there with hundreds of thousands, acting like he's on the phone. Look at me, I'm a thug with my jail gear on. Dude, you are a punk. People would laugh at dudes like that. Okay, you are not. That's probably not your money, and if it is, you just told on a lot of people, because when you get out of jail, even if it was just jail, you really think they didn't run who took the video? They know, because I highly doubt people like Joshua go through the lengths to wipe all that metadata or do this or do that. You don't come out and brag like that. He does that. He sees that they don't care, cuts the thing off, goes on the run. They warn him that he's gonna kill. They tell him who he's gonna kill. It didn't get more specific. And he killed the woman they said he was gonna kill. After he tattooed her and everything, he had to brand her, of course. This is what we're dealing with. People just have to understand that this is a situation that can snowball out of control very quick. Mass shooters are born for this kind of stuff, and the warning signs go ignored until it's too late. This is our chance to make it something where it's not too late. You really think if Zimmerman, who's facing the chair in Texas, gets caught, he's going to go down peacefully? His last option, and he doesn't want to do this, would be a suicide by a cop, because then he's just blown away. He's not going to win far. He'd be lucky to he's not going to even get a shot in the thigh of somebody. He doesn't want to do that. That's not fun. What's fun for him, a sicko, a psychopath, is taking the all-American family hostage. Small town America in Tennessee, if he gets to Tennessee. Mississippi, the farmlands out there. This guy is sick. He's not going to try to take an older guy hostage like the other idiot that's running around Tennessee. I don't understand what's going on, I guess, in that region. You have two very wild escapees, apparently, in Tennessee, according to a wanted poster that says Zimmerman might be in Tennessee, and the other guy, whatever his name is, I haven't followed it, is in Tennessee. Now the other guy, the other Tennessee guy, which is another, how do you put it? This guy's in the KKK in Tennessee. The other guy that is on the run, a violent offender, obviously. He just kidnapped an old man. I think that's, Tennessee needs some help. Not because of the inmates escaping. The one was Mississippi's problem. So Billy Fletcher is from Tennessee. I got that wrong. I thought he wasn't. He was arrested in Tennessee on, I'm not sure when, but on June 20th, 2024, he escaped the Carter County Detention Center in Tennessee. From there, an elderly man went missing and his car. They see the car with this guy, the escapee, in Greenville County, South Carolina. Now, what's crazy about this guy, on June 24th of this year, so 4 days later, they see the car. This guy's in the KKK, apparently, in Tennessee. You have Zimmerman. Well, shoot, maybe the two should meet, and that would solve it all. If hopefully the one guy does not harm the older man, he lets him go peacefully, and then he finds Zimmerman and he takes him to wherever they're going, because that would take it to Texas. I guarantee you the one guy that's in the Klan is going to Texas, as Zimmerman's trying to stay in Mississippi. As for victims or other survivors that are scared, that haven't come out because maybe he knows you don't know, you don't want to make it known where you are, go to Texas. Everybody go to Texas, because he's not coming there. Zimmerman's not. The other guy might. So if you're running from Fletcher, stay away from Texas, because this guy might be going there. Zimmerman is not going to Texas, and if he does, that would be so amazing, because they will give him the chair. Again, if you see something, say something. There are 2 inmates at large. We've been on top of Zimmerman since day 6 or 7, not day 1. I don't think anybody was on it from day 1. That one was wild. Somebody, I think Nancy, tagged me in something, and I thought it was fake until I read it. And it read weird because a suspected attempted murderer. I tweeted it out, and then I read it carefully, because I thought if I was suspected of attempting to kill somebody in Texas, I mean, the phrasing was so crazy, and I made it out. Yeah, I'd probably run too, because it sounds like Texas wants to take me down. No. You guys got the language wrong. He's wanted for murder, rape, kidnapping. I mean, the list goes on. He is a vile criminal, he's not suspected of attempting to kill somebody. The victims are dead, and there are many others that are probably dead because of this guy. And more are gonna die until we catch him. Right now, that's the goal, is to get this guy caught, get him back where he belongs. If you find him, or if you see something, call the police. I'm laughing because I was going to say, if you find him, hopefully it's out of Mississippi, so that way Texas can take him. Maybe you guys find him, handcuff him, and obviously call the U.S. Marshals, but also call Texas and tell them we got Zimmerman. If you guys can get here quickly with your outside entity, which we still don't know what that is, and swipe him away real quick, that would be very great, because whatever outside entity they hired to take care of business, I know a lot of politicians that need that phone number, because let me tell you, they have some wild pool. I spoke to a lot, I mean, like, I am telling this story to a lot of people that I haven't spoken to in years, that are in office and that don't pretty much have time to keep up with news. Some of them don't do the kind of public service that requires them to be up to tune with what's going on in Manhunt and stuff. I filled in a good amount of friends who work in various courts, prosecutors, and again, like agencies to that effect, and they are all in an outside entity called, they understand what's going on. It's common sense. 1 + 1 = 2. Guy escapes, evidence goes missing. An outside entity that the DA ran into in the hallway, but now says he got a phone call about, and he took the order and ordered everything to get deleted. And he said, oh, okay, yes, sir. Like, who was that, the White House? You know, do they have a red phone in that building that we should know about? Who the hell has the power to call a courthouse and say, listen up, you got a killer, I need you to release him right now. Give him a gun, I need you to take away the surveillance, delete it. You didn't think that sounded shady, you moron? What the hell are you deleting surveillance for? No matter who asked you to do it, what's your defense? I thought it was a routine check. Well, you failed if it was, because you deleted the footage. Why would you go back? If they were testing you, they were probably seeing if you're an idiot, and you are. And there had to have been a lot of idiots. I don't know how that phone call goes. I mean, put yourself in the position. Again, guys, we're dealing with a killer. How does the call go? Hey, this is outside entity. Is this DeSoto County? Yeah. Put us through to the top guy. Who's got Zimmerman? Where's he at? He's in holding right now in court, right? Yeah. Okay, how does that go? I need you to listen up. Here's my I'm Special Agent Harris. I've even the FBI let this guy out. Delete the surveillance. It's a go F yourself, bro. So obviously it's somebody higher than Special Agent Allen or whatever the hell it would be. A governor? But then that turns into something where you would call your governor, or I mean, I don't think DeSoto County has any power to call the governor. They sound so... They took advice from an outside entity to delete surveillance and evidence, and I think they have the ability to have common sense. I mean, at the end of the day, these guys got... You can't be that... You work in a courthouse. I don't want to say the word stupid, but I mean, come on. What did the phone call say? You can't leave us on a cliff like that. You literally have a... And when I say you, I mean the DA has a press conference saying, hey guys, this guy, get this, he left. We saw the surveillance. We saw it. Somebody stole it afterward. And then they wiped the cloud, but you have to figure out what happened for yourself. An outside entity came in, but not the state of Mississippi, and did what? Kidnapped a inmate. It's not, you know, like, what the heck? This is like the Blacklist, Raymond Reddington, maybe The Following with that cult thing. This, Your Honor, the TV show on, or the show on Netflix, this is the plot out of every corruption fairy tale that there ever was, and they just made it literally a documentary. All of them shows that I loved because they were so wild that they would go through those lengths to try to cover something up and then get caught, just became reality. So DeSoto, you guys have a wild area. If you think this was the first time it happened, okay. If you still have trust in any of the idiots that work in that took that phone call and then just had the power to do that, I don't know. What is your defense as the person that deleted the footage? I got told to do it by an outside entity. I'm sorry. If I worked there and they said for me to do that, I would probably say, yeah, but that's all you. Delete. What? You tell me a killer just broke out? You want me to, yeah, I don't care what the DA, Bach, whatever his name is, said. You tell that guy to get down here and do it himself. If he thinks it's legal, he's an attorney, have him do it. No, I'm not doing that. That's legal advice. Have him do it. No, I got this. What does he need? Let's delete it all. And none of you thought something was up, and the DA's office thought it was normal. How many times does this outside entity make phone calls in the US? Because every courthouse or every employee that I know in courthouses, I'm not saying I know 1,000 people, but I know people in probably 12 or 13 different ones. I've never heard of an outside entity. I legitimately felt trying not to laugh about this, coming in and taking charge of a jail. Comparing the entity to another state is just insanity, because you're saying the government did it, and then you say that you got a phone call. Now, it's crazy because there was somebody there in person and then they got a phone call. So you're telling me that this entity was that influential, that a phone call led you to delete evidence? You know that if somebody obstructs justice and they're not a cop, they get what? How long do you get if you knowingly delete evidence? How long? I think 7 years if it's a big case. What? You don't think? I guess since it wasn't a crime yet because he wasn't charged with escape, the defense is he didn't escape yet, so it wasn't evidence of an escape. And technically, he didn't really escape. He took advantage of something, a building flaw. Baloney. What building flaw? The whole building is flawed, apparently. He took advantage of what? You guys, how do you get from a holding cell to the fire staircase where the public are at, out a normal door area, get into a car, and you say that's a building flaw? Dude, you have to destroy the courthouse and build it all over again. That's not a building flaw. That's a building fraud, not building flaw. There's a fraud in the building is not flawed. Maybe the morons that answer the phone are, and then the common sense down the chain line that went ahead and deleted evidence and said, yeah, the entity. I know for a fact. I mean, no, I don't. They might be this stupid, so I'm not going to say that. If somebody told them, an outside entity wants you to delete the footage of that escape right now, quick. No, it would have prolonged it, because they would have said, who is it? So who is it? What the hell did they say? We just got a call from the Department of Defense. They need us to take this down because we're getting ready to go to war. What? The CIA called because Zimmerman is about to do what? And why are intelligence agencies? Well, I'll tell you why, because a courthouse got robbed. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that's as far as the intelligence agencies are concerned. You robbed the courthouse and you fools fell for it. You better hope it was the actual government. Well, it was, because the people that were involved, I mean, the DA slipped up and said at first that he ran into this guy and he confronted him. Oh, what did you do, bud? And then he changes it to the office got a phone call. Anyway, guys, if you see something, say something. Tweet me if you hear anything. Again, call in every tip. You can call 911 now. I know the 911 center in DeSoto County likely isn't, they don't have anything to do with the morons at the IT department, so they'll take the call. We'll go from there. Let's hope we have a sighting soon. It's been 20 days, which just means that he's laying low in DeSoto. In my own opinion, guys, he's in DeSoto County. If for there to be that long of a period, he wants people to think he made it all the way down to like Connecticut. He's not going. If he is going to Connecticut, it's going to be wild. I don't think he's going to make it that far. I think he's going to get caught close to DeSoto, and I think it's going to be rather soon. Joshua, your days are limited, but if you're helping him out, your days are even more limited. If they catch him first, he's going to guide them to you. Trust me, Zimmerman will snitch on you. He will, especially when the other options that they give him aren't really options that you would think of. He's going to snitch. And if they catch the accomplices first, the first one in the door is getting a deal. If you get caught, you're not getting a deal. It's better off to already be cooperating, which I do know that there are a lot of the poor idiots, and I call them idiots because they are truly very stupid, or they're very good at playing dumb, got fooled. You know, maybe they should start hiring people that have a record to work in IT, because even they know. I'll tell you, I'm going to end it on this. If a guy from like North Philly who worked in the IT and he got a phone call saying delete the evidence, he knows he's being set up for something way bigger than anything. And if they used the word entity, that dude would have slammed the door and called the cops or just walked the hell out. That would have never happened in Philly. They should start hiring felons and people that know the system to maybe work in there. IT, you guys are morons to think it's legal to delete evidence. Your job is to preserve stuff, and you morons go and delete the biggest escape that ever hit your county. Oh, perfect timing. It's either they're that stupid or they're that good. Again, if you see something, call 911, call the U.S. Marshals and Dog the Bounty Hunters tip line, and we'll see you guys soon.